on Twitter, you tweeted out where things stand as far as your criteria and who you've got winning it as of right now. So we'd like you to discuss that on the pod.
Well, those that have listened to this pod over the years know that I make my own criteria because MLS does not give us criteria when it comes to the MLS MVP award. And so I look at it, and this is my criteria. And there's a longer one there, but I'll go into it now. In that, my longstanding MLS criteria is: one, it's only goal scorers, because there is nothing that is more valuable in the game than scoring goals. Number two, it's not the goals that you score in the terms of the number, but it's the number of games in which you score goals. There's nothing to me more valuable than walking on the field and knowing that we're already winning 1-0 because I have that goal scorer on the field. Number three, PKs don't count. I'm sorry. They don't count. I'm not saying they're not valuable, but they are this different type of skill and position. And I'm not saying you don't need people that do it, but I just take them out because oftentimes you're not even necessarily the one that earned it. And again, you're stepping up in a situation where 80% of them go in. So I take out penalties. And number four, in a league where over half of the teams make the playoffs, your team has to make the playoffs. And my good friend Paul Carr, you know him, you love him out there. Over the years, I think he just gets a kick out of the fact that I've been doing this for so long. And so at different times during the season, he will tell me where we are. So as we sit here today, again, we were recording this on Wednesday, October 4th. There are games tonight in MLS and on the weekend. So most teams have 2 to 4 games left. Sitting there at 13 is Giacomakis and White over there from Vancouver. And sitting on 13, Benteke. Sitting on 9, Acosta, who is, I think, the shoo-in right now for the MVP award. Mukhtar, Bouanga, Maguire, Ferreira, and Carranza sitting there at 9. So if it were to end today, I would have to vote one of Giacomakis or White, which I know would see people's head explode. God forbid it's White. I know people will just go absolutely crazy. And look, you can have your own criteria. And until MLS gives me a criteria, this is what I do. And like I said, for those of you that have followed me for a long time, you know it. I'm not necessarily saying that you love it, but you know it. And I guess that this shouldn't be a surprise to you. For those that are new, this is how I roll. And you can have your own criteria when it comes to an MLS MVP that you can figure out.
Yeah, the conventional wisdom, as you mentioned, is that Acosta is the runaway leader here, while other candidates are Mukhtar and Thiago Almada. What those three guys have in common is they all have double-digit goals and assists. While you focus exclusively on goals, most people seem to be partial to guys that can score and create, who can be the bow and the arrow, so to speak. Acosta, I think it's 15 goals, 13 assists. Almada, 10 goals, 16 assists. And Mukhtar, 15 goals, 10 assists. So, I mean, you surely don't have an issue with any of those three, even though you're going still with your criteria.
No. Well, I'm not losing sleep on it in terms of any of them. They're all wonderful players. When it comes to an MVP, I would love to have them on my team. But I would be interested in other people's criteria as to what they look at in terms of how they pick their MVP. And I know a lot of people have the old conventional, well, would the team be worse if I took them off the team? Well, yeah. I mean, mine would be too, given the amount of goals that somebody has scored. So.
In terms of MLS games, we have an eye on this weekend. Inter Miami will host your Supporters Shield winner, Cincinnati. As of this taping, Cincinnati can still break New England's single-season points record. We'll see if that's the case by the time they play this game. Inter Miami, I know we keep talking about this Messi situation, but it's so fascinating to me. They have a game against Chicago in Soldier Field tonight, and they had sold over 60,000 seats, and now it looks like Messi likely won't play. I don't know, it's a game time decision. And so Chicago, they don't want their fans to leave disappointed. So to any fans that attend tonight, they're offering this $250 credit towards membership or future tickets or however, but teams are having to get creative to deal with the potential disappointment of Messi not playing in a game. I mean, what do you make of this dynamic?
I'm actually, I think, on Chicago's side on this because, Messi is such an outlier. Okay. And I think everybody would concede that there is nobody in terms of the ability to sell tickets, and not just sell tickets, but sell massive amounts of tickets and fundamentally change the makeup of your stadium than Messi. And so, again, we've talked about this over the last couple of weeks about buyer beware and all that. And I think this is a fair type of concession for Chicago to make. And in doing so, I think that they are respecting the fact that a lot of people are coming there not to see the Chicago Fire, and guess what? Not to see Inter Miami, but specifically to see Messi. And if he continues not to play, there are going to be a lot of people that are disappointed. Not that they have legal ramifications or anything, or not that there are legal ramifications or anything like that. This is sports. We all know players play and don't play. But I think that this is a recognition of how big it has become, how much money they are making, and also an opportunity. Again, we talk about this tent for Chicago, which needs it because they are struggling and have been on and off the field, to bring more people into the Chicago Fire tent. And maybe they like what they see. And who knows, maybe you're only looking for a small little percentage of them to actually take you up on that offer, whether it's the individual tickets or the season tickets going forward, and say, while I didn't see Messi, this was a cool time. I really had a good time, and I want to do this going forward. It's only going to be a very small percentage, but it's worth it doing this if you can turn those fans that otherwise wouldn't have been watching your team and in your venue into potential Chicago Fire fans.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.